Hello, my name is Sanjogita. I work with Gram Tarang and the university here. We are now focusing on training our trainers, and we believe that feedback has a very important role to play in this. So, we have named this session as the power of positive feedback. We are working in partnership with a company called Worktree, and with me I have Tom Bullman, who's the MD of Worktree. I'd like to know from him how he utilizes feedback in training trainers as well as the trainers training the trainees.
Thank you very much. What we found is that trainers perform better when they feel confident, and their confidence comes from knowing they're doing a good job. So it's important to give them positive feedback. Now, there's various ways of doing it. Certainly it has to be authentic. It's no use telling someone they're doing well when they know that you don't think that's true. It's also got to be specific. You've got to give them real examples of where they've demonstrated good performance. It has to be dedicated. You can't just brush past them in the corridor. You've actually got to sit down with someone if you want them to take in the positive feedback. If you follow certain rules, you're able to give the person a sense of what they're doing well, and that enables them to do some of the things that they're not doing so well. So combining the positive, starting with the positive, as a way of moving on to the negative, gives the total feedback that the trainer needs to improve.
But very strangely, here in India, we think that feedback has to be negative because the mindset here is that I already know what I am good at, so you don't have to tell me what I'm good at. You tell me what I'm bad at. Nevertheless, when they get the positive feedback, everybody feels happy. That's human nature. So when you start giving a positive when you start saying the positive feedback, people may not take you seriously. They might think that you're either wasting their time or not being truthful. So how do you address that?
By asking them what they're doing well, that's a good start.
Okay.
Generally people are happy to talk about that. They might be a little bit shy, maybe a little bit embarrassed. But if you give them a smile and really encourage them to say what was good about what you just did, they're usually quite fluent.
Okay.
And then having done that for a while and get them talking about what's good, they tend to be more confident. So they can start saying, when you say, what can you do better? They start being more confident to really look into the future and think, what would I want to change? What would I want to improve? So their confidence enables them then to make those improvements.
But what if I thought as an observer that that was not right at all? What do I do about it?
You want to get across your point, but you've got to start by asking them for their view on things.
Okay.
So what we'd normally do is start with what went well in that performance, and then say, what would you do to improve? If they don't come up with the thing that you want, then you can ask another open question, which is, how would you feel if, and then suggest a change that they could make. Okay. So you leave it with them to answer the question. Okay. What can be counterproductive is if you just go in and tell them, this is what you should do to change, because you'll never understand the full context that they experience.
Okay. All right. So what do you think should be the amount of positive feedback I give to the amount of negative feedback that I give?
You can always ask someone whether they want more support or more challenge, but generally people want more support to start with. So I'd always say give more praise than negative feedback.
Okay.
And it doesn't cost a lot of time, and certainly doesn't cost money to do that. In fact, the UK study recently with the Sutton Trust proved that giving feedback is the most cost-effective thing you can do with learners. So as a rule, you should do it. But it doesn't cost much time to start with positives, even if what you want to get to is what you want them to improve.
Okay.
So probably 2 to 1 as a minimum is what I'd say.
Okay. If I were to give you one last thing that you can demonstrate, that I just experienced a trainer taking a class where the trainer talked for 90% of the time. How do you think I can make that person realize that without giving him a negative feedback, that he talked most of the times and he should have let the student talk more than himself?
I think starting with a bit of kindness and politeness. Thanks for letting me in on your session. How do you feel it went? So then they'll say something. If they say, well, I thought it was really good. Say, well, what did you think was good? And then move on to, so what do you think you could do better? Well, they might say, no, it was great. I spoke and they listened. Right? And then I might say, well, how do you know how the students received it? Well, it will turn out that the student hasn't responded. They haven't said anything. And so the facilitator might actually have no evidence base for it being a successful session. So then it opens the question. And then I think leads them to start thinking, wait a minute, if there was no talk, how do I know what was going on in the mind of the student?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. So we are going to put all these principles into practice, and we are going to monitor as to how it is affecting our students as well as our trainers, because we really want to see our trainers grow in confidence and in becoming better trainers, in producing better students. Thank you.